Hello friends and welcome! Today, I'm so excited because I'm doing my first ever library haul! There's probably going to be lots more library hauls after this because I love going to the library and I love picture books and you guys love picture books too! It's perfect! So I'm really excited to share a whole bunch of them with you today. Good and bad, all the ones that I got. And I'll talk to you a little bit about what I liked about it and what I didn't like. A couple quick things before we jump in. One, I wanted to give a little shout out to my grandma Eater, who is probably watching this video, and she got me my book bag, which is actually way more empty right now than it has been. The books are all over the bed here. But I've had this book bag over a decade? I don't know. It's held up really well, and I love it, and it's giant, and it's perfect for getting all of my books, and it's great. Thank you so much, Grandma. I love you. Also, a quick disclaimer before we jump right in. I'm probably going to say some of these author and illustrator names incorrectly, but I will include all of the information, the book titles, and the authors and illustrators in the description. So don't worry, even if you have no idea what I said, or if I said it totally wrong, you can get all the information and still find these books for yourself, which I highly recommend. Some of these are awesome. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, without further ado, why, Terry, let us off to the book haul. I also want to let you guys know that this video is going to be fairly long and it's mostly me talking. It's very casual. I'm not going to put a ton of inserts. You are going to get to see some extra close-up pictures from the books and that kind of thing if you want to check it out. But you know, if you don't want to be watching and you want to be listening while you do something else, this is going to be a good video for that. So enjoy and let's go. Okay guys, let's get started. Start with this one. I really love this book and I'm super excited about it because it is so simple. This is The Day I Became a Bird by Ingrid Chabbert. No, Ingrid Chabbert Guridi. You know what? I'll just write the names below. Okay. So, this one's really fun. It's super simple. Super simple. Oh, you know what? That's too. Ingrid Chabbert wrote it, or Chabbert, and then Guridi is the name of the illustrator. Got it. Okay. Guridi? I don't know, you guys. I am so sorry. I'm really bad with names, but I love this book. These people did a great job. It's really fun. So simple. Look at this. Look at this. I love the color here. I love the simple line work. It's fantastic. This is a really simple story about falling in love for the first time and connecting with that special person. In this case, her name is Sylvia. She's in his class and she loves birds. Speaking of, hey buddy. Hi there. Did you see all these birds? You just came over right on cue, didn't you? You did, didn't you? Hi. This is just a gorgeous book. Look at the minimal color palette. Okay, one of the things I loved about this haul is I got a bunch of stories that are very simple, either in concept or in the artwork that they're doing, and messy too. Like, look how messy this is, and it's gorgeous. And the wording is simple, but the illustrations lend so much to it, and so much humor to it also. It's just beautiful. It's funny. It's touching. I can't spend this much time on all of them. I know this because otherwise you would be here for about an hour. But I loved this book. You're gonna love it too. I can almost guarantee. The Day I Became a Bird. This one's great. Okay. Look who decided to join us again. Here you go. Bye, buddy. So this one is called Love. And this is another really good book. I really enjoyed this one. Kind of made me cry a little bit, actually. Oh, guys. So this one is pretty much all about noticing those little things little things in life that are love. And I would also use some of these things. I would, probably the way I've talked about them before is noticing beauty and stories and how they bring us together. It's about connectivity. That sounds really kind of weird to use that word for it, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's about noticing those things. In the beginning, there is light and two wide-eyed figures standing near the foot of your bed, and the sound of their voices is love. It's those little things. Everything smells new, and it smells like life. It's just beautiful. Noticing the colors and the feelings, the experiences, the connections between people. It's lovely. It's really lovely. I would definitely recommend this one. And this is another one. They talk about when things don't go well too, and you don't see that love. Also, it's real. It's very real, and I really like that about this book a lot. And this is one that felt very appropriate for adults too. And some things, not that kids wouldn't understand it because they really would, but some things could make more sense as you read it over again when you get a little older too. So this one was just beautiful. I absolutely love it. There's a lot of things for everyone to relate to in here. All those little moments that are like the common denominators, which I just don't know what other words to use. It's hard to find the right phrases, but yeah, the little connections between us. And it's beautiful. Wonderful book. Wonderful book. All right, next we have A River by Marc Martin. I loved the colors and the lushness in the illustrations in this one. And the idea behind this one is very interesting too. It's just, you have a whole lot of spreads in this one that are very similar, which is not something that's normally done. Normally you want to vary up the pace a bit more. But in this one, it's intentional to have the river be the constant thing. She's imagining where it would take her if she went on a little silver boat toward the horizon, and all the different places that the river goes. This one's very beautifully illustrated. I love the textures in this page especially. So I like this one. It's probably not one of my absolute favorites ever, but I do really like it. It's very beautiful. And of course it's about imagination, which is a great thing. Sorry about slightly. He's very excited. Oh, this page is so pretty. So pretty. Just look at this watercolory paint. So lovely. So that's A River. Oh, okay, here. So Cry, Heart, But Never Break. This is an interesting book. I honestly cannot completely decide how I feel about this one. In this one, death is a character, which is a concept that I'm very interested in. I loved The Book Thief by Marcus Cusack, which is not a children's book at all. I do highly recommend it, but it's not for the faint of heart. And you know, I've had death in my family within the last year, which was pretty hard. So I've been looking into a lot of different books on death and grieving. So I was really interested in this one. In it, there's 4 children that live with their grandmother, and she's dying, and they know death is coming for her. And so he's personified here, which is a really interesting concept, and I like the idea. Normally, I would never say this, guys, but I feel like the actual style of illustration kind of hurt this one. It's a little bit more cartoony than I think is really completely appropriate for this one. I don't know, it's like almost too real and not quite real enough at the same time. I think something a little more abstract might have been a little bit better. But at the same time, it does deal with the idea, but Death tells this story of 2 brothers, sorrow and grief, and 2 sisters, joy and delight, who fall in love with each other. And it basically uses this story to talk about how sorrow and grief go hand in hand in life, and that's just part of how life is. And that idea is a really, really good one. Something about the execution with this one just didn't quite sit right with me. maybe some of it is my personal experience too, but there are some good moments in this one as well. So I don't quite know how to feel about this one. I would read this one yourself and think about it before reading it to a child. Just, I think it probably depends on you and who you're reading it to. So there's that one. Oh, The Road Home. This is a beautiful book. Normally, I am not at all into rhyme. Actually, normally I really don't like rhyme in children's books unless you're Shel Silverstein or Ludwig Bemelmans. It doesn't normally work out very well, but I feel like this is an exception to the rule. The idea of looking at what home means and what comfort means, safety, what all that means from the perspective of all these different animals. And of course the illustrations are just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. I feel like this is a really great bedtime book. Really great bedtime book. So this one I would kind of put in the same sort of category as You Belong Here, although to be completely honest, I think I like You Belong Here better. But it's in the same kind of realm as You Belong Here. So it's very beautiful and comforting in a slow kind of way. So that's The Road Home. Take a look at this one. So this is The Fox and the Star, which I love the cover of. It's okay, buddy. He's fine. It's okay. I love the cover of this one. I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but I do it all the time to see if I'm interested in it, but I do try ones that I don't necessarily like the look of too. So I try and balance it out. But I do love the design of this book. Coralie, Bickford-Smith did a really great job with just the design of this one is really interesting. It's a different format. It feels very vintage in that in some pages it's very boxed in isn't the right word, but the text is all in this box here, and the illustration is very cleanly organized within the boxes here. And then some pages she breaks out of that. So it's a really great way to emphasize certain parts. It is all digital, which is not usually my absolute favorite, but it is beautiful. It is very beautiful. Some things about the story felt like maybe just a little bit flat to me. I'm not 100% sure. I do like it, but it sort of felt like maybe it shifted in the middle to be about something different that I couldn't quite put my finger on. But I think it's pretty much about getting out of your comfort zone, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. So that's The Fox and the Star. Oh, okay. I loved this one. This one was great. This is called The Whisper. And this is a book about stories. So of course I'm going to love this one. Well, not of course. I don't have to love this one, but I did. This is about a little girl who absolutely loves stories, loves books, and she ends up being lent a book that has lost all of its words. And that stumps her at first, but then she hears a whisper that prompts her to make up some of her own stories for the pictures. And the vast majority of the book is the pictures from her book and the stories that she comes up with. Just little teasers for the stories she comes up with. And it's gorgeous. It's beautifully illustrated. It's a great little, I don't want to say exercise in imagination, but it's a great opportunity for imagination. It's really wonderful. You know how some kids get to the stage where they think, well, that doesn't matter because it isn't real? This could be a good book for those kids. And it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. This would be another great bedtime book, but really, whenever. Really, whenever. It's very fun. Has a little Aesop's Fables hint in here too. It's very textured in both story and illustration. So I really like that about this one. This is The Whisper. Next one is Swan, The Life and Dance of Anna Pavlova. I love this book. So good. Illustrated by Julie Morstad, who I just love. It's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I do tend to really like picture book biographies. I find them so interesting. And this, it's just gorgeous, you guys. It's gorgeous. And it talks about how her encounter with beauty at the ballet led her to become a ballerina. Of course, there's ups and downs along the way, all that kind of stuff. But overall, it's about her being herself, which was not the expected way a ballerina should be, and sharing that beauty with everyone very intentionally all over the world. And gosh, guys, it's wonderful. It has, there are certain elements to it that are a little bit Miss Rumphius in the just sharing that beauty, sharing that love of something so beautiful, and it's just gorgeous. Highly recommend this one. Highly recommend this one. It also deals with her dying at the end, but in a really great way. And there's lots of extra information about her too here. I always love that kind of part too. So this one is just gorgeous. Okay, here's one I wasn't super pumped about. Well, I was really excited about it at first because I love the ocean and whales, and there's a lot of promising things about it. But then the more you get into it, it just feels very, honestly, it was a little bit confusing. Not exactly that the story was confusing, but it just didn't feel like it really landed anywhere. And it kind of felt, I don't know, somewhere in between a beautiful story about a girl that loves the ocean and takes care of this whale, and a talking about the environment and how we need to save it, which there's nothing wrong with, but there are certain ways that it can be done really well, and other ways that seem a little bit too, I don't know, it just seemed a little bit kind of broken up in sort of awkward pieces that didn't all quite fit together right. So at the end, you didn't, it was supposed to hit this really beautiful emotional moment, and it just, I don't know, it kind of fell flat. So I honestly can't say that I would love this one. It's not bad, it's just not great. So that's Emma and the Whale. Trying to be honest with you guys. Oh, and we're gonna follow this up with one of my absolute favorite books ever. I need to actually just own this one for myself. This is Sidewalk Flowers by JonArno Lawson and illustrated by Sydney Smith, who's another one of my very favorite illustrators. And guys, there are no words in this picture book, which is just a favorite thing of mine. It's not that I don't like words. I love words actually, but I also think there's a special power in stories that can be told without them, and in authors and illustrators that tell them beautifully without words. They don't need them, and certain stories don't. This is another one about finding, noticing beauty that others don't see, and then sharing it where it needs to be shared. This pretty much encapsulates so much of my worldview in this book, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Highly, highly recommend. Actually, everyone just go out and buy this book, basically, is how I feel about this one. I'm going to. That's Sidewalk Flowers. Okay, here we go. This is another one that I felt fell flat just a little bit. I do really like Christopher Silas Neal's work in some other places. There's some other books that I really like of his. This one he wrote and illustrated. And again, the idea of this one, talking about how everyone has happy and sad feelings. Sometimes life is up, sometimes it's down. Is good. It's a good idea. It's a good concept. But it just kind of fell flat. It didn't really land well. I'm really sorry about Slightly. He's so excited to talk to you guys. I don't know, there are certain things about it that worked, but it just kind of, everyone cries now and then. That's a good thing to know. It's a good thing to see. But, I don't know. It didn't quite clinch it for me. Not quite there yet. And maybe I'm just really mean and too harsh. Maybe I'm too harsh, but that's how I felt about that one. Okay, The Bear and the Piano by David Litchfield. This one is very beautifully illustrated also. The use of light in this one is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And the concept of a bear finding a piano in the middle of the forest is just inherently fun. It just is. And this one, you know, it's really interesting because there are a lot of books out there right now about, you know, you are special just the way you are and it's different from everyone else. I mean, that's like the story that everyone's telling everywhere. That's basically Disney's only story nowadays. And, you know, in this one, it actually worked. They didn't put a lot of emphasis on how different he was from the other bears at the beginning. It's just he kind of happened to find the piano and enjoy that and put in a lot of practice and became famous. And then when he comes back, sorry guys, spoiler alert, he's worried that his friends will hate him for having left, but they're actually really proud of him, and then he performs for them. So it's not, I don't know, it worked out decently well, I thought, because it wasn't all about like, yay, you're you, be different than everyone else, and no one wants you to be you. And you know, that sometimes that's true, and that's a horrible thing. So yeah, we do want to hear that we need to be ourselves, and that's the best thing to be. But this one kind of held it in a non-heavy-handed way. Not in my top 10 probably, but definitely this, not in my top 10, but I did like it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Friend or Foe. Very simply illustrated, but I love it. It's pretty fun. This has a sort of Aesop's Fables, old school, not exactly fairy tale, but it has some of that element to it that I really liked a lot. It's about this mouse and a cat who night after night see each other. The cat lives in the castle and the mouse lives outside, and the mouse wants to know if the cat is friend or foe. And it's just an interesting one of those like role reversal kind of stories that's just fun. There's not a lot to it, but there doesn't need to be. I really like this one. This is great. So that's Friend or Foe. Oh, this book is fun. This is a Flying Eye Books book. I love almost everything by Flying Eye Books. They do a phenomenal job. This is by Joe Todd Stanton, and it's called Arthur and the Golden Rope. It is part of the Brownstones Mythical Collection, and I need to find those other books because if there are other books in this, I don't know if it's really a series, but collection? Yeah, collection. Yes, Arthur and the Golden Rope. This has a lot of connections with Norse mythology, which is very fun and interesting. My husband was a third grade teacher for several years, and he's really into Norse mythology, so there's that extra fun little tidbit about it too. I loved this. I thought it was really fun. So I do have a thing for the graphic novel format. I think it's really interesting. I would honestly love to try it sometime, but I am not this talented. I have a lot of work to do to get to this point. But I loved this book. It was very fun. Again, it kind of has the unlikely hero thing going for it, but it's not heavy-handed about it. We just have this very lovable character and tales of all his adventures, specifically helping to save his village when Fenrir, the great wolf, puts out the fire. The great fire that warms their town. So there's just so many fun characters in here. There are little, I'm so sorry about slightly. There are little tidbits of Norse mythology sprinkled throughout this whole thing. It's all within that world, but it's kind of separate from, not separate from it. It's adjacent to. So it's very fun. I really like this one. I think you will too. That's Arthur and the Golden Rope. Leave me alone. And this also has some kind of old school fairy tale elements to it. Once there was an old woman, she lived in a small village in a small house, and you kind of get this like there was an old lady who lived in a shoe kind of thing, and she has a very big family. But the illustration style is very much more modern, and then she mixes in a whole lot of fantastic humor, really great humor. Like, this book is as slapstick as I've probably seen a book get, and it's very funny. It mixes in some very, I don't know, maybe we would call them sort of irreverent twists to what would otherwise feel like a sort of classic fairy tale story. So that's kind of an interesting one too. And it's also not super heavy-handed with the ending and about coming home and actually enjoying being back with all the people you love, even though you wanted them to leave you alone before. So it's different. It has a really different flavor to it. It's kind of refreshing, even though I really like the more classic fairy tale kind of things too. But I thought this one was pretty interesting, and it's pretty fun. Very funny. Oh, here we go. How To by Julie Morstad. This is a very simple but beautiful book. I love her illustrations. There's not a lot of text. It's just things like how to go fast, how to go slow, how to see the wind. And this whole book is like this. And it's just very calming and slow and imaginative and thoughtful. And I liked it. I feel like this one kids and adults can enjoy. There's a lot of, not exactly a humor that adults would appreciate more, but things about children that adults would notice and appreciate. Last one. This is another wordless book. It's called Fox's Garden. It's by Princess Cam Cam. Unfortunately, someone spilled something all over this library book, so it kind of dampens the beauty of it a little bit. But the illustrations in this, guys, are phenomenal. They're phenomenal, and it has 0 words. The storytelling is fantastic. I love it's paper cut. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful, and it's another one of those books that's just about a simple connection, in this case between a little boy and a fox, and what can come from that, and caring for other people and other things. And it's just so lovely. So lovely. Yeah, I'll get some close-ups on this one too. So this is another one I would highly recommend. Guys, this makes me want to go do paper cut, like, right now. Right now. It is just so beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, I basically showed you the whole book, sorry. But yes, highly recommend this one as well. It's absolutely beautiful. Bye guys, we love you. Enjoy those picture books, and I'll see you all soon. Yeah? Do you think so? You want to see them soon? You want to go up on my shoulder? Where are you going? What do you think? Yes? Let's go. Okay.